What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Burgers and Banter. Today we are in Soho at Ma Plucker. The guy to the right of me is
not black but brown, baby.
Not black but brown. And our guest today is creative consultant, fashion editor, and just an icon, swaggy boy. Get in here, bro.
I genuinely feel I should have come in here like doing the Willy Bumps.
You should have done the Willy Bumps. You should have done
You're gonna do it now.
Yeah, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it.
Jesus Christ.
Hey guys, how are you?
Not a lot of bounce in that
Listen,
Willy
I don't
Bumps.
know how we do it. That's what I'm saying.
How are you feeling today, yo, brother?
Great. This is a good day. We're alive. We are alive. I need to be thankful for that. I'm
More importantly, how do you feel about the food? Are you ready to eat?
Yes, sir.
I think there's only one thing left.
Let's
Should
do
we go
it.
taste this food?
Yes.
Yo, Solly's ankles are hanging on by a thread, man.
Goes lights, camera action when I step into the limelight. Easily adapted to the high life. Dressed to impress like it's prom night. And when you live in top shelf, you know you gotta set the bar high. Had the same dreams since we was kids. Big gyms, big cars, and even bigger cribs.
Okay, so as you guys can see, we are inside Ma Plucker. But before we get to the first topic, bro, so you've given us these t-shirts. As you can see, they say the product of immigration. But bro, can you just give us some background on these t-shirts, the concept behind them, and just let people know like what's the deal with these t-shirts, bro?
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, it's a cult.
Okay, cool.
We pray together, we stay together. I'm only kidding.
Proper cult.
Proper cult. No,
I'm not joking. I ain't been wear white robes in that. I ain't been home in like 3 days.
No, but on the real though, basically 2.5 years ago, while I was in New York, a friend of mine and I were thinking about sort of doing things and wearing clothes with meaning, because obviously I work in fashion. I'm a men's fashion editor, I'm a stylist, I work and consult brands. And one of the biggest things we felt is that we were at a point where everything you wear was a statement, and it really wasn't making a statement we wanted to make. So she was Chinese Jamaican, and obviously I'm sort of born in the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago. We're living in different places and we're immigrants in many ways, and we are products of immigration. And so we kept thinking, what can we do, what can we say? Obviously there was a time, that was a point in America and in the rest of the world where immigration was such a hot topic, so we thought we'd do this. And then all of a sudden life happened and I thought to myself, we're not going to do this anymore. And last day I just thought, let's do it now, let's make it happen, because obviously what was relevant 2.5 years ago is very much still relevant today.
Absolutely.
Immigration, that is, and how...
Especially now, like Brexit and everything.
I mean, think about that, for example, and not only in the UK, but obviously also in the US in a big way in terms of the Mexican immigrants. And then we have migration being a big issue in the world right now as well, in terms of people trying to migrate to Europe and different countries. So I thought, hey, let's create something, do something that says something, but at the same time that's dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Hey! Close to that one. Alright, guys.
Best intro ever.
But guys, what have you decided to go for your start? Today we actually got a little share platter. Going on.
Oh, looks good though. I'm hungry.
Bro, Sonny's such a robot, bro. Like, it's every one of you decided to.
Yeah.
You didn't remember that no one decided anything. You just went for the same thing.
Let's go through the motions, man. But yeah, so these are the mac and cheese balls. Should we give these guys?
Listen, I'm ready. Let's do this, man. Let's do this. Oh my god, get in here.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I need to take.
You slightly gave him in the cold plate.
I need to take my teeth out.
Oh my god. These are wild.
Plus, I'm not hungry. Oh no, so you kind of already like touched upon like the whole immigration guy there, but like, what role do you think immigrants play in terms of like the fashion industry at the moment and the wider society?
That's a great question. And you answer a question with a question or a statement like that when you don't know what to say, but...
Done that many times.
But in all honesty, I think the role that immigrants play in the fashion system right now is absolutely immense. If you go to the very bottom of it in terms of manufacturing, where do our clothes come from? Who are the people making our clothes? Who are the people making the caps? Who are the people making the things that we wear, shoes and so forth? And the fact of the matter is, most times when somebody immigrates from a country to another country, just beyond sort of like the second or third generation, they're really looking to do, the truth is, anything to kind of make ends meet. And so, in many ways, a lot of the sort of like non-glamorous side of fashion, in terms of making things happen, seamstresses, tailors, and so forth, are immigrants. I remember sort of a story. This year actually marks 70 years, the 70th anniversary since the SS Empire Windrush came to the UK, bringing immigrants from the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
And there's a story on there of a woman who was a stowaway, and they called her, I think it was Edeline Washer. She couldn't afford a ticket. She was a stowaway on the boat, and she was a seamstress.
Yeah.
So it's funny, the minute you asked me that, like that kind of came to the front of my mind. We're actually the makers. In many ways, immigrants are actually in a lot of brands, the makers of the
That's kind of where it begins.
Absolutely.
It begins from immigrants.
And then as you sort of bubble up to creative directors now, we have a lot of creative directors of major brands that are products of immigration. Virgil Abloh is a prime example who's in the news a lot. At Louis Vuitton, who also is the creative director of Off-White and is a DJ. You know, his parents come from Africa, right? To America, so they are full on. He is
a product of immigration
in a major way. So at the luxury level, it's a real thing. The ideas that they bring is truly because they're different.
The crazy thing about it, I feel like the term immigration is being like used in such a negative way, because what you've said about how it's being used is they've moved to the country. They haven't. It's not you've immigrated. You just literally just moved to one country. It's like if you decide I'm going to study in Spain for a while, like you just moved to stay. You haven't immigrated. You're just going somewhere.
It's called immigration.
It's called immigration, but I feel like it's been looked
migration.
But it's looked upon it in such a negative way. When in theory it's just you're moving from one place to the other for more opportunity, more kind of like enhancement of your life. What do you think about that?
To make like the lives of others better, I guess, because it's like if you're saying in terms of like fashion and stuff, like you can kind of look at it in a way of like you got affordable fashion and then like luxury fashion. So if you're bringing even is it like Olivier? I never Balmain,
great example.
Even stuff like that, man. Like you're bringing like another. I generally just believe that like when you have lots of different kind of ideas in the same thing, it makes the whole thing better. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same as like too many cooks spoil the broth, but just having different flavors. You know what I mean, like,
it enhances it in a major way.
It enhances it. So
I think all those people can look at it from like different kind of like cultural perspectives,
absolutely,
stuff like that. Because then you don't have that that kind of like downside of like remember that H&M campaign which came out with the kid. I don't even.
I don't even care about that kid. Let me tell you something about that kid. Bro. His parents were in the shoot. They didn't say nothing. He got paid. Everyone's happy. I went to H&M the next day and I bought some jeans and I bought the coolest monkey in the jungle. It was too small, but I copped it.
You the gorilla size.
This gorilla in the jungle.
What did you guys think of the stars?
Listen, the starters were great.
For the mac and cheese
mac and cheese
balls were actually really good.
Shout out to Hussein. Shout out Hussein for the recommendation.
Those were those.
I don't think that's
no rents.
That's he told me in English.
Oh Jesus! I'll take a sip for that.
Got the guys there. It's fine. Guys, out of 5. What you rated this?
I'll give him a solid 4.5.
We get his name right next time.
Out of 5, what do you think, bro?
Out of 5, I'd give it a solid 4 as well.
I'll give it a 4 as well. Alright, so guys, we're going to be moving on to the mains now, and the topic we're going to be talking about is energy, like finding your energy, you know, that positive vibes,
like renewable sources of energy.
Nah, this ain't science.
That is
just
renewable.
Like your energy, bro, like, you know what I mean? Your energy.
We got energy.
But before we do that, guys, what have you decided to go for your mains?
I went for the pulled slow and low, 500 grams, 2 size. with a waffle.
It's a lot of food from Raymond once again. How about yourself?
And I joined him with two, the chicken waffle burger.
Chicken waffle burger.
And then I had another burger with a beautiful piece of chicken breast. It's the chicken halloumi. Yeah,
Nice.
but with chicken breast.
But with chicken breast. I have also gone for standard chicken burger with the halloumi, fried halloumi, and
Standard, bro.
chicken.
'Cause you're
Actually, no. Mine has chipotle. Yours has halloumi. Yeah.
Solly's a basic bitch.
You've got like a chipotle.
Bro, man said
weird looking pulled pork thing.
But you come
Anyway, should we
No, but seriously,
dive in?
Seriously.
That is the belly.
Bro, Solly's
Listen, if this falls though, I'll be mad. But this is good. This is amazing, man.
Should we dig it?
Let's do this.
Solly's girls the belly.
Where to start? You want half of this, right?
It might have to save me something.
There's none for you. It's calm.
Yeah, the three of us can share this actually.
No, man. Okay, let me get my bit.
Eat that first.
What's wrong with that?
Nah, cause that's looking incredible, bro. That's looking delicious.
Geoff,
Yeah.
the first question I have for you, because obviously we've known you for quite some time and your energy has always been good, it's been up there, it's been positive. But how important do you think it is, and this is actually for both of you, to have like good energy and positive energy about yourself?
I'll tell you something. We are energy. And that's one of my honest beliefs is that because we're energy attracts energy. Or in most times, in my case, once I put the positivity out there, negative people tend to not show up, to be very honest. But in terms of how important energy is, it is, for me, it's maximal. You have to, I'll put it like this. It's funny you mentioned Oprah earlier on, right?
You did.
You mentioned Oprah, yeah? Oprah is like one of my mothers. Seriously, I'm that son she talks about all the time. That, she doesn't give him a name. But a couple of years ago, I'm telling you, I love
You see white chicks where it's like she don't know a chick, but that's wifey right there.
That's mama. On the real though, she talked about a man who was in a coma.
Okay.
And I think it was a man who was in a coma, not a woman. And basically, when he came through, he had said, every time, I think it was a woman actually, but basically the story is that it was a person. And when they came through, they said they felt the energy of the nurses while in being in a coma. And she had said, the person said, you are responsible for the energy you bring into the room.
Okay, I got you.
And I've always thought about that because I've always grown up being like happy-go-lucky, like, oh my god, I'm always that bubbly person, talks a lot, but obviously it's because my energy is very much always trying to bring joy into the world. And so I think energy is important because when you walk into a room, it's either you're walking into that room with joy as your energy base or with something else, and that is what you're going to attract when you get in there, unless you meet somebody who's able to kind of counter that or actually channel that into something positive.
Okay, I got it. What about you, Ren? What do you think about it?
Bro, same thing, man. I feel like with me, like in terms of like letting other people affect my shit, I don't let anyone like affect my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to like when I was younger. You know when people say, "Oh, you made me angry. You made me do this. You made me do that." Like as I got older, man, I kind of realized that like like you said, you're responsible for not even what you bring. You're responsible for how you feel, really, man. Because like someone can get on your nerves and they just keep pushing, annoying you. It's kind of up to you, like if you let them get you through to a place where you're out of character.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing that I ever heard in terms of advice to be successful is to always blame yourself. Because then only by doing that, you're saying that I'm the only person that can get me out of this, bro. You know what I'm saying? And in that process, I think you just grow so much, man. Like everybody likes to blame other people for other shit, but I think like in looking within and and knowing that like I'm responsible for my emotions, for the way I feel, for my situation, you grow so much, man. So in terms of energy that's around me, I try to not let other shit like come and get in the way of how I feel and stuff.
That's the thing, like even like the practice of like non-judgment or non-movement, very much is in the thing of not seeing what someone says and letting that affect like how you actually feel internally. Because I feel like sometimes we all do it without knowing, because there are always going to be little things that kind of get on your nerves. But again, it always comes down to your point of view. You need to reflect on that situation and say, okay, how am I affecting it? How does it actually affect me? And saying, okay, cool, like it's not me. Like you shouldn't let this affect how I feel. That's that person's problem, and what that person does shouldn't affect what happens inside me and how I feel and how I react to it.
Bro, so in terms of like us, so we're all like,
that's also decent stuff.
So if we're all like freelancers and stuff, yeah. So how do you guys find like because like we're in a position where like if we don't work, we don't eat, so we can't. I don't really like have days off. You don't really have days off. You don't really have days off.
Yeah.
So how do you find that having to do that? Like let's say someone's pissed you off, and as much as you're not reacting, so you're not going to Instagram or confronting them, you still have to live with the feelings in it. So how do you guys find having to like still have this like work ethic, but still dealing with the whole like I feel a way about something? Like how does it affect you?
I address it.
Yeah,
I don't wait a day or two. I literally say, hey, do you have a minute?
Okay.
Oh sure, I have a minute. No, I mean a minute so we can talk because
exactly.
This is happening. I'm not moved by it, but I do think it's a problem and can lead to a problem in terms of the perception of what you said or what you did. I confront people quick.
Okay.
I don't wait for a cut to fester and turn into a sore. I tell people all the time, if it's a problem, let's talk about it, let's be honest, let's be open. Not a lot of people appreciate that, but to be very honest with you, if you don't appreciate it, that
says more about them than you.
Again, that says more about you. I'm saying to you, this can be a problem for you, not for me.
Because you could have just gone away, chatted about them behind their back, and let it be a problem. You know what I mean?
So my thing is always address it as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Nip it in the bud, because you don't want a situation where things are blown out of proportion.
But then even with that being said, like you saying that like it's not a problem now, but it could be a problem. I don't think there's anything wrong with you thinking that it's a problem, because at the end of the day, you're still taking steps to like squash it. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily, because some people is like, it's a problem, I'm not going to sort that out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. So even if you're like, listen, I'm not gonna lie, like, I didn't like what you said. You know what I mean? Because then they might not know. They might thought, look, it's cool. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's an issue with people saying that, and I think a lot of people are scared of having this label of being argumentative or defensive or whatever. Bro, sometimes you need to defend yourself, and sometimes you need to argue. Bro.
No, but some people are confrontational and.
Solly's laughing because. That's basically Solly's nicknames for me is Argumentative Brown and
really, I didn't call you that.
And
he just made it up. He just made it
Defensive
up.
Brown.
He just made it up.
No, but sometimes some people will do it though.
But Solly will be like, Solly better Reem, I'm not gonna lie, man. Your breath stinks. And I'm like, nah, it doesn't. Bro, why are you being defensive, man? Why are you defending yourself?
You actually try shit. It's funny.
No, but if you are having more confrontations than most people, I don't think the problem's with the people.
Nah. For me, I'll punch you up. I'll punch you both up.
Let's address this.
This might be the first episode where the guest gets punched up.
Listen, let's address this though. Where does that come from?
What?
Wow, man's shrinking you. Psychoanalyzing you. Where does that come from?
Like, even that deep, bro.
What was your childhood like, bro?
My childhood was alright. You know, I grew up in Lagos. I was in Ikoyi, VI.
One day you have to be defensive.
I was fighting lions and tigers and bears, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
I get it now. Guys, that was the main topic. What did you guys think of your burgers and your waffles?
Delicious.
About 500 grams of pulled chicken. It's not a joke.
Listen, the waffle burger though.
Good.
That chicken, like honestly, amazing. I had the chipotle as well. The chipotle.
Yeah,
chicken
this
breast.
thing with cheese, with the halloumi cheese, absolutely.
The what cheese?
Halloumi cheese.
Halloumi. You just ate it. You just ate it. And I know you liked it. Look at that big empty over there. Come on.
Is that halloumi?
Come on now. Hey.
Anyway, guys, out of 5, what was
It's
your
a
rate?
face your girl made when I was inside.
Out of 5.
4.3.
3, 5. I'll give it a 5 still.
You got a 5?
Yeah, man.
Is that your first 5, is it?
That's good.
Wait, I'll give mine a 4.5.
So way good thing.
Anyway, guys, any last words?
Run the videotape.
Say the thing. Pick this up.
You know what? Listen, live your best life.
Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and I will catch you next week.
Sweet. Peace.
Peace.